We learned from the Parsha a few weeks ago of the miraculous conquering of the whole eastern side of the Jordan River. Moshe Rabbeinu was able to conquer Og and Sichon and Amorites, and all of a sudden they had these huge tractates of land that now belong to the Jewish people. In this week's Parsha, we read how the tribes of Gad and Reuven approached Moshe Rabbeinu, that they wanted to receive the land on the other side of the Jordan instead of their share in Eretz Yisrael. While Moshe was upset with them, he finally did reach an agreement with them, an arrangement with them, that if the Jewish men of warrior age, all the soldiers of Reuven and Gad, would join the Jewish people in conquering the land of Israel, then he would give them this land. He would give them the land which is on the other side of the Jordan. And they did that. They joined the Jewish forces with a lot of enthusiasm. They fought the war. They were Yeshua's best soldiers. The toughest soldiers came from Reuven and Gad. Moreover, after the land was conquered, after most of the land was conquered, which took 7 years, they volunteered to stay another 7 years until the land was portioned out and shared out amongst the tribes. Only then they went home. They really proved themselves. However, we know historically they're the ones who first suffered the exile of the Jewish people. They were the first 2 of the 10 tribes that were lost from the Jewish people. The first 2 tribes to be lost to the Jewish people were Reuven and Gad. That is the result of this mistake of wanting to separate themselves from their brothers and live on the other side of the Jordan. The question is, though, why did they make this mistake? It was a mistake. What led them to make this mistake, which led to the loss of these precious tribes? The Torah hints to the reason behind the mistake in the opening verse of the story. The way the story begins is with the words, "And Reuven and Gad had tremendous herds of cattle." They had tremendous herds of cattle. That's the opening introduction to Reuven and Gad in this week's Parsha. And this shows that this is where the emphasis was. The emphasis was on their wealth. And since they were thinking about their wealth, then when other people looked at them, they also immediately focused on the wealth. And when the Torah speaks about them, the Torah also automatically focuses on their wealth, because that was, unfortunately, their highest priority. And this led them to the terrible mistake they made and the loss of these precious tribes. The message for us is, we have to keep our priorities straight. We have to, number one, order our priorities. We have to know what's more important and what's less important. And then we've got to discipline ourselves to focus on our highest priorities. If we allow secondary or tertiary priorities to creep up and to take first place, we are liable to make terrible mistakes. Never, never must we put spiritual priorities in second place to material priorities. They must always come, the material priorities must always come much, much lower down on the list. And we have to put our main strength, our main focus, and our main thrust of life, our main life thrust is towards our spiritual growth, to attaining our own personal perfection and the ultimate benefit for ourselves and for the entire Jewish people.